Pryor testifying before the House Intelligence Committee. He is the acting director of national intelligence. We'll continue to follow that. But in the meantime, we have some breaking news now. Peloton, we knew was coming with an IPO. He's begun trading, and we have Shonali Bassett here to tell us how it's going. Shonali.
So it's open today at $27, down from the $29 that it priced last night. Remember, a lot of people were thinking it was already quite expensive, double the IPO valuation than it was last year. But, this does make it one of the worst openings for an IPO this large since 2008.
But prior experience indicates we have to wait a little bit to see where it settles, right?
Right,
It can get better, it can get worse.
But you've got to say the first trades are not great for confidence. If it is falling from the IPO price, the underwriters really like to find investors that will hold it for longer. So people are going to be asking what's going on here. Usually investors expect a pop.
So what were the concerns going into the IPO? Why were investors having any questions about this at all?
Sure, Bloomberg's Julie Verhage has outlined it quite a bit. How do you value Peloton? Is it a software company, a technology company, a retail company? And at this valuation at 29 last night, at $8 billion, that was more expensive than Netflix even on a 2020 forward basis from price to sales.
What is their path to profitability?
So they are growing their revenue, but exactly the losses have widened recently. So they are burning money, so the bottom line does not look great so far.
There's also questions about do they have a second act as a practical matter? I mean, they're very popular. I have a lot of friends who have Pelotons, love them, etc. But what do you do besides get an extra cycle and have somebody interact with you on a television screen?
There's a second act, but then also something that a lot of consumer opinion columnists that we have point out as well, is it recession-proof? Can you buy a $2,000 bike when the economy gets a little worse?
How big is this marketplace, do they think? I mean, how big could it get?
I don't have that actually answer off the top of my head, but it's something that I think we'll be looking at as we look to push that valuation up a little longer.
Who's behind it? Who are the investors?
Tiger Global, right? So we had reported yesterday at the low end of the range, that's $26 that they would have more than $1 billion profit. They're still above that right now, so they've still been able to cash out since the Series B round that they invested in very early on.
Okay, stay with us, Shonali. Please, we're going to Taylor Riggs now, our colleague out in San Francisco. Okay, what's your first take on this open as it's opened up here, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, this is very interesting because we thought that there would be an indication of about 24, so it's coming in right here around 26, 27 or so. And David, I wanted to touch on something that Shonali was really talking about how do you value this company? Because we heard from NYU Scott Galloway, who was talking about it's a software as a service because you have that recurring revenue. Those typically have higher margins, those are higher valuations, but then it's a hardware company. And he's mentioning with these hardware, it's a $2,000 bike, a $4,000 treadmill, that is more closely to an Apple-esque margins, right? And if you can continue to grow that hardware, then that would give it a future pathway to growth. On a price to sales basis, here we were speaking with our Bloomberg intelligence analyst, and again, Shonali sort of hinted at this. You're looking at a 5.3 times price to sales basis for fiscal 2020. That's higher than Netflix, which trades right now at about 4.7, and Apple, which trades right now at about 3.7 times price to sales. So very interesting, at least from a valuation perspective. As you know, here in San Francisco, tons of conversations about valuation, corporate governance. I spoke with Gene Munster over at Loop Ventures, and he said that he really liked the Peloton filing much more than the WeWork filing because of the way in which they were using their accounting measures, and he really liked the way that they were very transparent. And so at least from his perspective, it seemed like they were a little bit more transparent than other companies like WeWork.
Yeah, it's